Kingsman: The Secret Service is directed by Matthew Vaughn and stars apparently about half of the recognisable British film industry. It concerns the Kingsmen, a highly elite group modelling themselves as a modern King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, even taking the knights' names, Galahad, Lancelot, etc., as their code names. Now, each member of this group is essentially their own James Bond. They are all incredibly suave, incredibly sophisticated, always impeccably turned out and presented, only ever drinking the finest whiskies or brandies, but they are also unbelievably well trained and have every conceivable gadget and a few, frankly, inconceivable gadgets perfectly to hand. They work behind the scenes, mopping up any little bit of trouble there may be, whether that is a terrorist threat or whether that is a blackmailing of a British Prime Minister, for example. I mentioned earlier the cast for this film, and it's just ridiculous. Of the household names, we have Michael Caine, Colin Firth, Samuel L. Jackson, Jack Davenport, Mark Strong, and of the somewhat lesser known names, we have Taron Egerton, Sophie Cookson, and Sophia Bodella. With that exceptional cast, the film obviously centres on a few main characters. Colin Firth's Galahad, Taron Egerton's Eggsy, Galahad's potential new recruit to the Kingsmen, essentially a chav, or since I'm from the northeast of England, a chava. He hasn't had a particularly happy life. He has a rough home life, but Galahad sees potential in him, and his father was a Kingsman before him. You have Sophie Cookson's Roxy, another new recruit, another potential new recruit, and Samuel L. Jackson's Valentine, a billionaire obsessed with the environment, obsessed with climate change, who, shall we say, gets a little extreme in his views and essentially plans mass genocide. One thing I did like about the cast of the film is it's so obvious everyone is having such a good time making this. No one's going to be winning an Oscar. This, of course, they're not. It's just not that kind of film. You know, it's a fun action film. That's not going to happen. But everyone is just having so much fun, and that just adds to a film like this, a fun comedy action film. The two most obvious are Colin Firth and Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson's character is so bloody over the top that he's just stupid, but he's fantastic, and yeah, you just can't help but kind of like him in a way, even though what he's planning is horrendous. You kind of can't help but like him a little bit. And as for Colin Firth, because his character's kind of interesting because he's so known for playing that English gent. He's now playing an English gent who can, you know, blow people up with an umbrella and who swears like a trooper. And because it's just that one or two steps removed from where he normally is, you can tell he is relishing it. It's hard to talk about this film, as far as I'm concerned, without mentioning the obvious, and that's Bond. I mean, I'll admit I'm not particularly a Bond fan. I never have been, I never will be. I find them way too predictable and frankly kind of dull. But this film manages to be all at once a homage to Bond, a parody of Bond, and almost the anti Bond. And I thought it was fantastic because of it. At no point does this film take itself remotely seriously, and neither should you, honestly. But it does get almost kind of meta at times. There are certain conversations characters have with each other about spy movies, and they may as well just look directly into the camera and just go and give you it because it knows what it's doing, but it does it really well. I wasn't expecting it to be quite so violent, quite so sweary, and quite so funny. It really delivers on all areas, and I think Matthew Vaughn really has to take some credit for this. He has become one of my favourite directors. I own almost every one of his films on DVD or Blu-ray. I haven't watched Stardust, but the rest of them, Layer Cake, Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, and now this. I love all of those films, and he he has become a real director of note in my eyes. This film was just great fun. Don't expect, the most complicated plot on planet Earth. In fact, the plot gets genuinely ridiculous at times. But if you go in just wanting good fun, good action, and just an entire cast having a whale of a goddamn time, you'll love this film. I did. I thought it was. It's not one of the classics. It's never gonna be, but it's just great fun. And I came out of the cinema with the biggest smile on my face and singing the final song over the credits. It's just a great time, pure and simple. Thank you for listening to my thoughts on the film. Let me know yours in the comments below, and of course, feel free to like this video or subscribe.